Hi guys, it's Stu from Samsung Now. Samsung Now is where we look at all things Samsung, all things tech, and everything gaming, and everything in between. So if any or all of that interests you, then don't forget to subscribe. Today is Thursday, and a sort of tradition that I've been starting, and I've not done one for a couple of weeks, is Thursday Thoughts. And Thursday Thoughts is where I sort of discuss my thinking behind sort of tech, and it could be anything from a frustration to sort of sending out something to you for you guys to comment and discuss amongst you. And I watched a program last night, and it's something that's been going on for some time, as I'm sure you're fully aware, is how tech companies are simply not paying their fair share of tax. And this program on the BBC was discussing not only the fact that they're not paying their tax, but they're trying to give this image where they're sort of for the people, and that this change is a big social change, and that, you know, that changes in technology bring benefits for all, and that they're, by their very image and by their representation as companies, that they are sort of different from bricks and mortar, from what we've seen before. And really the truth is that they're not, and by that they're looking to actively avoid paying as much tax as possible. And you know, I understand why companies do that. A lot of companies do that. However, ironically, the more traditional companies that have been around for a long time are paying their fair share of tax in the countries in which they trade and exist, and you know, market and manufacture their goods. And we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that with Apple. We're not seeing that with Facebook. We're not seeing that with so many tech companies that are sort of giving this impression that, hey, we're for the people. This is about social change. This is about creating something new, being good for everyone. And really, and this kind of coincides with sort of Apple's greed in terms of, you know, the new iPhone 8 is likely to be above $1,000. And it makes you wonder, well, you know, given that Apple is a good example here, has one of the highest margins in their phones and hardware than any other manufacturer, and has such enormous reserves of money you know, just laying around. They just have billions and billions and billions of dollars in you know, as a reserve, let alone just the amount of profit they make. But they're not paying their fair share. And it's not just Apple, but Apple is used as an example here. They're simply not paying their fair share, and they're looking to actively and do avoid paying tax by having offshore sort of shell companies in much sort of cheaper tax havens. Like, for instance, in Europe, a lot of the money is funneled through Ireland, and the EU is currently trying to, I think they're suing Apple for several $1 billion worth of tax which is owed to the Irish government, because they're not paying. They're kind of not even paying what they should be paying within that country, which has a lower tax rate than other countries in the EU. And one good point, which was really startling, is, as I'm sure you may well know, is that Apple are building this huge, sort of almost looks like a flying saucer, new headquarters called, I think it's called the Apple Campus 2. I think that maybe that's the working title so far, but I think it's meant to be open not too far away now, and it's enormous. I can't remember the exact figures, but it's cost Apple something along the lines of, I don't know, billions and billions to build this enormous behemoth of a headquarters. And the Californian state government have a tax on property and commercial property where it's 1%. And they are looking for Apple to actively pay their tax, their fair share of tax, on the properties that they have within California. And one such property is this Apple Complex 2, which is worth, God knows how many billions of dollars. But Apple have turned round and said, no, no, no. This property, which has cost billions and billions of dollars to make, is actually only worth $58 million, which is laughable. Absolutely laughable, but it just shows you the greed. They're not even prepared to pay their fair share of tax within sort of local government, which then that tax would make an enormous difference to the local community in which they're sort of serving, and their employees and everyone else that's involved locally within that. Schools, healthcare, roads, everything, the whole infrastructure. And I know Apple is saying, well, we're doing these other things when we're building this huge complex to help other parts of the community, but they're still ignoring the fact that they have a responsibility in terms of the tax that's owed, just even locally. So even on their own doorstep, this is the point really I'm making, I'm laboring, is even on their own doorstep, these tech companies are still looking to not pay their fair share, yet they have and want to project this image that we are for the people, that we're about change, that we're about good, that we're bringing people together, that we're not creating these massive changes within society and what have you that are going to harm. But really all they're on about and what they want is just more and more of the profit in which they make, and they want to keep that. And I understand why business does that, but they still have to pay their fair share of tax, as we all do. So my question is to you, do you believe that's fair? What do you feel these tech companies should do? Do you feel that they're being disingenuous by pretending to be this, sort of projecting this one image, but actually acting much worse than older and more established businesses by not paying their fair share of tax and much more? So let me know your thoughts. I think, it's a very interesting subject. These companies are not going to go away, so they need to begin to pay what they owe and also on the profits that they make in the future, because otherwise, as they create this social change, as they are on about that, they're saying it's the new sort of industrial revolution, it's the technological revolution that's going to change jobs. To do that, they need to pay their fair share of tax. It is very, very simple. So let me know your thoughts. If you know any of the facts and figures, let me know those too. I think it's a really interesting subject and one which is going to go on and on, because these companies simply do not want to pay their tax. So what do you think? So don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to look out for more of my videos. Okay guys, thanks so much. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.